Hey everyone, thanks for joining here with Lisa. I want to introduce what we're going to be doing here on a kind of weekly, bi-weekly basis. Today, it's going to be kind of a meet the CEO video. We're going to talk to Lisa about her background, kind of what inspired her to found the company. And then going forward, of course, want to be pretty interactive. Any questions people have, please drop it below. We'll talk about recent press as it comes out, as well as any general industry questions or company questions people have. But first things first, Lisa, how are you?
I'm good. Nice to see you. Thanks very much for doing this.
Yeah, no, awesome. Looking forward to it. It's going to be already seeing a lot of questions. Obviously, they'll all get their own little video soon, but exciting to be doing these. And again, early thanks for doing them. I like to kind of dive into it. Usually early background. I don't know where you want to start from, things you were doing before Jaguar, and then we'll eventually get into kind of what inspired you. But if you want to just pick somewhere before, and we'll start there.
Okay, well, the most fun start out story is how the idea came to start Napo Pharmaceuticals and Jaguar Health, and that was about 32 years ago. At that point, I was employed as a venture capitalist in the healthcare area, so I was looking at new ways to do innovative drug discovery and development, and I was climbing Mount Kilimanjaro on a holiday in Africa, and got about halfway up, and the person I was climbing with, who was an Olympic grade athlete, not me, he was an Olympic grade athlete, was so totally altitude sick, could not even put another foot in front of himself. And there was this makeshift pharmacy with sort of this green goop coming out. And he took some of it, which was probably chat, which is like an African coca, and it gave him the antioxidants and the energy and sort of allowed him to get up the mountain. And bink, that was a light bulb moment for me, that why not look at these traditional medicines that have been in man for thousands of years and are more likely to yield a drug, sort of demystify the traditional medicine and bring them into Western medicine, and more likely to lead to something that is safe and effective in man, because in fact they have been in man for thousands of years. And that was the light bulb moment. And then when I finished that trip, I came home and I quit my job and I started Jaguar Health on my credit cards.
Wow. So big mountain climber, I guess. Give me some of that background. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, that's a pretty crazy background. I don't know if they want to dive anything about, we climbing mountains everywhere. Or was that just hey, I'm in Africa, let's climb a mountain? What's the
Well, a bit of a wanderlust kid, a lot of travel around. And my dad raised us very much in the outdoors. In Mount Kilimanjaro, there are parts where you can do more technical climbs. And this is a hike, it's a strenuous hike. And of course, there's the altitude part associated with it. We had climbed Mount Kenya prior to that to get ourselves acclimated. That's a little bit more of a tougher climb, even though it's a little bit lower elevation. And I'd climbed and been in the outdoors fishing and in Alaska for my entire life, because even though I grew up on Long Island as a very typical Long Island girl, public school in Long Island, my godfather was the first master guide in Alaska. So I spent every summer with my brother up in Alaska, being the horse wrangler and living off the land every single summer. I thought everybody grew up that way. And interestingly, even though it's wonderful and important and valuable to go to the rainforest to see how traditional medicines are being used, sort of the natural libraries that are being burned down as the rainforests are being destroyed. And we do work in Africa, Southeast Asia, and South America for our discovery process. There are traditional medicines that are used even in the Pacific Northwest, even up in Alaska as well. There is not as much diversity, but there is important natural medicines being utilized all over the world.
Yeah, incredible. And you touched on your life kind of early as a VC. Do you want to kind of talk about that at all? Any cool things you saw? I know, talking about the biotech space, anything you can speak about? Just curious.
It was part of the contrarian philosophy of how Jaguar Health was started. At the time that I was a VC, which was, I was active in, let's say, 1987, 88, 89, the pendulum swings different ways. At that time, it was early stage discovery, enabling technology. And it was, how do you have tools to do high throughput screening bigger and faster? So libraries of combinatorial chemistry and different methodologies to sort through that these libraries even faster. So making the haystack even bigger to sort through it even faster to find that needle in the haystack. And we said, yeah, let's go the other way and let's do low throughput screening, and let's learn from healers, from shamans, how they're traditionally using plants, and we would not go in and say, that plant is going to be a product. We would have a respectful exchange with a professional, with a shaman in the rainforest, and say, here are the signs and symptoms of patients that our physicians are dealing with back in the United States. Do you have any patients with those signs or symptoms? And what plants are you utilizing? So it was a professional consult. And then we would prioritize and put a small number of plants, maybe 100 a year, into whole animal models rather than specific known mechanistic assays. So we were not constrained by previously known mechanisms of action. And in that sense, what we were looking to do, which in fact we did do, was to discover whole new ways of treating disease, whole new approaches to managing and ultimately curing disease. And what came out of that was my testing, crofelemer, which is a product, it's first in class, and it normalizes gut function. It has a first indication that we're commercializing, which is a specialized market of chronic diarrhea in people living with HIV/AIDS. It is also the product that we are just launching right now for chemotherapy-induced diarrhea in dogs. And it is our pipeline and a product for so many different indications. And there's no other product out there in development or on the market that works by that mechanism of action. And that is the culmination of this discovery philosophy that we started with 30 years ago.
Yeah, and you're touching on some points that are going to make incredible videos. You're talking about the recent press release with dogs, talking about the product. Of course, we'll go deeper into this. They'll get their own videos as well. But super exciting times, and I know a lot of questions coming up, natural health and all sorts of other things. So we'll do a bunch of these. So I already see people asking those online, and really looking forward to doing those. But I guess now, kind of diving into it. Of course, you're the CEO. Tell me what's it like being the CEO of a kind of a smaller biotech company today? What's the day-to-day, week-to-week look like?
The day-to-day is pretty crazy. And because we're a small company, we're an emerging company, but we do everything. So I call us a small, big pharmaceutical company. When we started, we were just, 30 years ago, we were just doing discovery, and then discovery and development, and preclinical development, ultimately clinical development. Where we are now, we do everything. We commercialize a product for a specialty indication, HIV, with our own sales force. We manufacture that product, meaning we supply it from the rainforest. Crofelemer is natural, sustainably harvested, fair trade, organic, and it's an FDA-approved drug. So it goes through a full GMP, FDA-approved manufacturing process, starting in the rainforest, going to either Italy or India, back to the United States, put into a bottle, the full quality control associated with that. So ultimately it lands in essentially any pharmacy in the United States. So we're selling a product, we're manufacturing a product, we're doing the quality control, we're doing the continued development of crofelemer for multiple other human indications like cancer, like short bowel syndrome. We're developing animal products. The product was just approved, and we established a company in Europe, Napo Therapeutics, under license from us for the rare disease indication of short bowel syndrome, because the processes there with the equivalent of the FDA, which is called the EMA, can accelerate the access to patients with orphan diseases to products in the European territory. So all that going on, you start at around 3 in the morning to have a bit of a moment for yourself, like walk the dog, get the day together, and 4 o'clock, the calls start in Europe, then the US, then New York opens and the US opens, and then India and the Mideast to the end of the day. And I would say about 25% of my day can be pre-planned, maybe 30% of my day. And then the rest of it is incoming, particularly with highly volatile markets when you're still a small cap company.
Yeah, I'm sure you wear a ton of hats. And funny you balance in a ton of time zones too. Europe starts early. Incredible up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. That's extremely early, but hey, the struggles of being the CEO of a small cap biotech, but really interesting, extremely vertically integrated, and we'll talk about that as well. Kind of when we say what makes Jaguar different and all the other things in future videos, but extremely exciting. Anything else about you wanted in kind of the video about you?
About me, I am highly, highly committed. And so when I was talking about no issue with the day because it's so energizing. And there's so much enthusiasm for what we do because it takes a lot of investment to do what we do. And I am highly, highly committed to my investors. And I know when there's market volatility and the stock price volatility, I personally take a lot of incoming. And you know what? That people invest in it. We are here to honor that and respect that. And why do I do this? Because crofelemer is such an amazing product that can benefit so many different patient populations and people all over the world, regardless of their socioeconomic status. So it's business model innovation to have your product to be available to the world, as well as it is scientific innovation to get your product approved. So those are the two driving forces in my professional life, and my professional life is a driving force in my life.
Oh, look at incredible. You definitely have a ton of passion. Could tell by the first word in this video. So extremely excited. And I think I speak for everyone when I say thanks so much for doing this. I know markets are a little shaky, crazy stuff happening worldwide, but I'm glad that you're taking the time to be able to talk to people. And again, want to invite anyone with questions, things you want to see in future videos, drop it below. Thanks so much. But Lisa, thank you for joining and looking forward to doing another one soon.
Oh, thanks a lot. This was fun. Yeah.